guys? Welcome to the 28th episode of Big Beard and FRIENDz. Now, tonight, I was going to have the musicians edition, where I have some guests who are inspiring musicians on, but instead, I chose to do something a tad bit different. We're going to talk just for a few moments about 9/11. Now, you might have known that today was 19 years ago. You might have caught that at the beginning of this episode it said special edition. And you've seen that little video that I put together saying that we'll never forget. Did you know that 6 9/11 victims had birthdays that day? See, nobody talks about that. You know, there's this florist from Brooklyn. He goes by the name Mikey Flowers. Y'all might have heard of him. Every September the 11th, what he does, he parks his truck downtown and with a bucket of white roses, you know. And he goes to the site where he actually helped look for the victims. And he leaves them in remembrance. He was quoted as saying stuff like, it's about commitment to a cause, to believe that even when times are tough, we will always remember that these people, were something. And they'll never forget. You know? He was saying that everybody's relative gets to go to the memorial. They're there to stand up for people who couldn't make it, he says. It's weird when you think about these attacks. The attacks caused the deaths of 2,996 people, almost 3,000 people, including all 19 hijackers. And it injured more than 6,000. The death toll included 265 on 4 planes, from which there were no survivors. 2,606 in the World Trade Center and in the surrounding area, and 125 at the Pentagon. Because those guys chose to fight back. And they took it. The one that was on its way, there's another one on the way to Pennsylvania. I think that was that one. It's like, wow. And you know, and this may sound crazy, but what I miss everything before that. And some of you have no idea what 9/11 is. Most of you watching do. Some of you are just finding out. Some of you don't care. It's the truth. Some of you are numb to it. Some of you don't understand about it. Do your research. It was tough. Now, as for me, I happen to be working out a department store in retail. Yeah, that's me. I worked retail at a great place. I won't even say their names, but I loved it. Those who are watching, those who know. And I actually smoked then. So I went outside and I was on my smoke break. I got to this job at 6. We opened at 8. So if I did certain things at certain times, I got 2 smoke breaks or breaks, whatever. And I used them to smoke and run back in. It was probably around 9 o'clock, I guess. Well, I guess 8 o'clock then when we heard, and around 9:30, 9:15, I guess, whatever the time comes to. Somewhere in between there, we got news. And one of the guys that I worked with had relatives in New York, coincidentally. And he called, and I remember him letting us hear that they had shut down, like we heard this on recording, that they had shut down all calls to the city of New York. And I watched this guy just essentially turn, you know, Oh my goodness, my parents were like 8 or 9 blocks from there. I believe it was his parents. I haven't seen that guy since I worked with him then. And I pray for him and his family, and I don't know the outcome of that. But when I heard that, just hearing it, it made me go, wow. That just hearing, like you've never heard that message before on a phone. Like shut down all calls to the state. I know several people like him who have stories of someone they know or were affected. And you know, I do miss life before that. And I miss where everybody came together. You know, one time in this world, just that small glimpse. There was no rioting, there was no protesting. And I'm not talking about the stuff that's good and peaceful. I'm talking the bad stuff. At one small moment in time, we were not doing that. Nobody was. Everybody loved everybody, and you were your brothers and sisters' keepers. I mean, I know there's tons and tons that we could go on and on and on about all bad things in the world. Some people, I've heard this, and I'm not discussing, I'm just talking. So I've heard people say what makes them different, what makes people die every day, and this and that. Let me tell you something. I can't speak for everybody's response, but for me, I will say that it's sad when any one living creature, no matter what it is, perishes. Some things stick in our heads because, you know, we have to unify. United we stand, divided we fall. And I don't think that it needs to take travesty and tragedy to bring us all together. We're all sons and daughters. We're all sons and daughters. It doesn't matter how you cut that proverbial pie. We're all sons and daughters. I don't know, I feel like I'm sometimes losing my mind. But I really sit back and look at the big picture. People think you're crazy, or people think you're nuts. But you know, some of the greatest people in history were nuts. That's probably debatable there. But I'm still saying, I always want to take a moment and pause. I do it in the morning. I do it throughout my day. And I just want to say, thank you for everybody who has put their heart and soul into helping people in the rubble and the aftermath and the years to come of 9/11 and the victims, from donations to being right there first on, hands-on, or whatever the case have you. And everybody who is affected by these tragedies and travesties, as I was saying, I pray that you get comfort. Not that you'll ever get used to this situation, but I do pray for you that you find some kind of peace, some kind of positive in this negative, whatever that will be. You got to think of all the children that grew up, some who didn't, all the children, the people that grew up, some survivors, people that were affected, but now, you know, this is 19 years later. Some of them are 19 years old, I think. the bottom line is we all want the same thing, and that's survival. And I'm not trying to change anybody's mind about nothing. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind about something. I'm trying to just give me expressively in the proverbial sense that give my opinion. And I'm not think I'm right, I don't think I'm wrong. I don't even look at things right now at this moment in time like that. I look at things like we came together and we can do it again. And when it comes to the 9/11 families and victims, God bless each and every one of you. I pray for you. I can't say much because I don't know how that feels. But I do say, if you think no one ever is caring, no one ever is praying, I am. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know it. For a fact I'm not. But God bless each and every one of you and everybody watching. And anything that anybody is going through, may you find that strength and that dedication and that patience and that guidance that you need. Thank you all.
Big Beard!
Presentation!